All right. So where are you right now?
I'm just at home.
I mean,
Headed to the gym.
what state are you in?
Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. So it's 11 o'clock there. Yeah. So you have to train all day today?
Yeah, pretty much.
How have you felt since the loss?
Well, I've seen better days, but I'm good now. It was rough at the beginning, but it's part of it.
Were you when you lost? Because Ronda loses and she's like finally fighting after I guess a year. But you're fighting, probably a regular amount of time. Does it kind of throw off the way you see yourself, or how does that affect you? Because it was the championship loss.
I mean, what do you mean, like
mentally? Like because you've had a loss before, so you've rebounded from losses before. Like you lose a fight, then you come back and you win again. But does it affect the way you see yourself at all? Like when you lose the championship, or is it now just another goal to get back to achieve?
I mean, it's one of those things, like, you just try not to let one loss define you, One win doesn't define me, one loss doesn't define me. So, I mean, it sucks, like, it's not fun, but, you got to take it for what it's worth and try to make it, make you better. That's really all that I can do, So I want to get back up on the horse and try again. I've got to come to some kind of resolution and, not live in the past.
And how long did it take you before you were like kind of moved? I mean, I guess at least if it will take the next fight. But like, are you a person after something like that? Like, do you need a little bit of time where you don't want to talk about it, or you can't train, or do you try to get right back into it?
I took some downtime. I actually went up to Ontario, Canada, rode some motorsports, and just got away from the noise of the world a little bit.
Right.
And I think that was really important because even with something that I love as much as mixed martial arts, and I love training and I love competing, there's still, too much of a good thing is still too much, and just felt a bit overwhelmed and overloaded, so to speak. So I needed to kind of get away from the noise of the world and have a little bit of a reset. And I also went on a road trip, and yeah, it was really good. I needed that for sure.
It's funny how the mental part is so important for the fight game. Listen to my voice now. Hold on. All right, I'm better, Misha.
Yeah, Matt was just drinking liquefied cheese.
Also, I'm a gravel-voiced lemon. But listen, I want to talk about your upcoming fight with Raquel Pennington at UFC 205, November 12th at Madison Square Garden, because I know you're really, you got to be psyched about that. First time ever there. But your last fight, we're getting away from this, and right after this, I promise you. I watched all your fights because I'm a big fan, Misha. I told you that when I've seen you.
Thank you.
Going into this last fight, walking to the cage, I fought the deal. I hate when people go, when a fight that I lost, they go, I seen you walking in, you looked off. And I'm like, oh, fuck you. But how did you feel walking out? Was something off a little bit? Did you feel, or is it just, hey, I got caught, shit happens? I mean, how were you walking out to that fight?
I mean, I felt like regardless that I was going to be able to perform and win that fight, there was a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of things going on, and that's life, and not every fight, not every fight is perfect in the lead up, and there's, sometimes life gets in the way and it makes it hard, but still it doesn't, I felt like when the cage door closed that I would be able to perform and I would be fine. So, and I got caught early with a really good right hand and it rocked me, and that's one of those things that I not really inclined to blame on outside circumstances for myself. I just think that I need to take responsibility that I didn't show up that night. And even though I thought I had it all and I thought I was good and I thought I could do the juggling act, but, I don't know, I just got caught. So, yeah.
And we were going to ask you, too, about a quote from Brian Caraway quoted. He quoted this recently. The camp was so good, I think because it was so good, I almost felt a little lackadaisical to take some credit on my part, definitely on my shoulders. And I don't think I was there like I should have been. I was probably overconfident. Some stuff fell apart the week of the fight a little bit, and it was kind of rough. It is what it is. When you're fighting for the UFC world title or the number one spot in a particular sport, you can't be on your A game. You have to be on your A+ game. You have to give 100%. You can't have a bad day. Is there any truth in that? Was there any overconfidence or that he's talking about?
I mean, no. I kept saying to everyone that I really thought Amanda was going to be a tough fight. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be a walk. I'm like, you guys don't know. She's dangerous. It's not that I didn't think that I could or would win. I trained very, very hard for that fight. I don't take any fight lightly. There's no one in the UFC that I think, is like, oh, I don't have to train hard for that fight. And, even if you're like, man, this is a good matchup, I believe I'm going to win, you still want to train hard because you want to be as dominant as possible, or at least in my mind, that's what I want. So I trained hard for that fight. I didn't underestimate her, and I just got clipped really, really early, and I don't really remember the fight. I wasn't aware of my surroundings, and I lost, ability to, my ability to, it was like my neurons were misfiring. I lost my ability to move, really. And I lost strength in my body. It was the weirdest thing for, some people who have maybe, almost been knocked out or whatnot, there's something going on in your brain. It's like things are glitching and you're not really aware of your surroundings. You're trying to get it together. I remember circling and trying to get my bearings back together, but she's very aggressive in the first round, so she was really on me. And, I don't remember shooting. I went back and watched the fight. I don't remember any of that stuff. So I was really definitely very rocked. And it's crazy when you go back and watch it and you're like, I don't remember any of that.
After something like that happens too, and you lose the champion, it used to be like, at least in boxing, a lot of times the loss for a champion, especially after a fight, was usually you get an automatic rematch to try to take the belt. And then that does not always work that way in UFC, depending on the fight. And now Ronda is fighting Amanda for the title on December 30th. Does that feel like a logical progression for you, or does that bother you?
It's just one of those things that I feel like I just knew that was going to happen, so I just tried to accept it and not overthink it because I have, my own career to focus on and things that I have to do. So I don't want to expend energy, hating on that or whatever, So it is what it is. We knew that was going to be the case, that if Ronda returned, they said it the entire time that she was going to get the title shot. So, we'll see. We'll see if it's a good idea. It's a really long time to be off, and, obviously Amanda's, she's on fire right now, so we'll see. It's interesting. I'm still looking forward to the fight. I'm going to watch it,
And you're fighting Raquel Pennington, who you coached on season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. And is this the first time you've fought anybody that you've actually coached, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that weird? I'm sorry, Jim.
Oh, no, that's pretty much what I'm asking. That's a good question.
Is that weird for you? Did you get tight with her on the show?
Yeah, we were. We definitely, Raquel's the closest person to me that ever in my career that I'm going to be fighting. So it is a little bit strange, but I think the elephant in the room between us always was that we knew that was a possibility. So it's like when you kind of go into it mutually accepting, like, hey, we can be cool, be friends, and support each other, and, wish each other the best, but we are in the same division, and the chances that we're going to meet each other are there, and it's business at the end of the day. So that's really what it boils down to, is that we both, we have a job to do, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to, do my job on the 12th, and I plan on coming away with the win. But it's kind of interesting. I feel like we'll kind of be, friends in combat, but
sure,
it's not going to take away from the fight at all. The cage door closes. I'm going to go hard and do everything that I can to win this fight. So it is a little bit weird if I stop and think about it, but I know that once I'm in there, I won't be thinking about it.
Right. It's just you got to fight, and then when you're done, you can be friends again.
Exactly.
Well, women's MMA has come so far in the last few years. It's nice to see how many dynamic and really big draw fighters there are now. And everyone talks about Cyborg, so we have to ask you, because it's not realistic that she'll compete with the weight difference, and there might not be a weight she could get down to realistically. How would you feel about a catch weight fight with her? Or is she legit until she beats one or two of the top 5 in the UFC?
Well, you can't say Cyborg's not legit. I mean, she's crushing girls.
Sure.
So, but and would I be open to it? Yeah, for sure. For me, it's a win-win. She's a beast, and it would be cool to be able to challenge myself against someone of her stature. I'm curious to see, how she would do maybe against some of the, like you said, the top 5 girls at 135. But she's been impressive so far. So I don't know. I wish that she could make 135, so really we couldn't have any question about, girls moving up in weight. And people are like, oh, does 5 pounds really make a big difference? Yeah, it does. It really does. Might not sound like a lot in the big scheme of things, but all wrestling weight classes until you get to the higher ones are pretty much all 5 pounds apart, because 5 pounds makes a big difference. When you're in high school and you're in college, the difference between, a 135 and a 140 is a big advantage when you know how to use your weight. So, it's one of those things. Like, it would be cool to see if she could make 135, but I would not be opposed to taking the fight at 140.
And there's a story we've read about on a hike. Could you talk about what happened where you helped somebody get medical treatment on a hike? Because I read that, but I obviously haven't heard it from you.
Yeah, there was a little girl at the top of Mary Jane Falls at Mount Charleston, just outside of Vegas, that tripped and fell and broke her arm, compound fracture at the top of the hike, which is almost 3 miles up. So
you could see the bone sticking out?
No, it wasn't. Well, I don't know, because they had it wrapped up by the time that I actually began carrying the little girl, but I don't think so.
Twisted question.
No, it's compound fracture.
I'm only kidding.
I was wondering if you had to carry her down with the bone. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
No, it does.
Yeah, people said it was like a U, like her arm was just like flipped the other way. So
man.
they had taken a stick and then wrapped it around and kind of to brace her arm. But I carried her all the way down to the bottom, which, I was happy that I was able to do that. It was a great workout for me, and she was a sweet little girl. Her name was Kai. And, I felt like I was the most qualified person there to do it. And we got down safely. We didn't fall. And she got to the hospital with her mom and got her cast on, and she's recovering well.
Katie, she's like a superhero. You're like Superwoman. I mean, now listen, you were doing this hike. I'm not being a prick. Was Brian Caraway with you? Why did you carry her down? Was he with you? Could he have carried her down?
He wasn't. No,
because Chris, the producer, often points you guys out as the power couple of the UFC. Is that? Yeah, no, I'm just saying. That's what I've heard. So I thought if he's with you on this hike and you're carrying this little girl down, I'd have to give Brian some crap about that.
Right. Yeah. No, he wasn't there. It was just me and a couple girlfriends that were hiking.
Oh, that's good.
There were some guys in the group that I didn't realize that were with the little girl, but at the same time, like I said, I still felt like I was the most qualified person as far as like balance and coordination and getting her down without falling, because there's some switchbacks and rocks and things like that. So it was okay. It didn't boil down to a male or female thing. It was just, I was there, I was qualified, and I was strong and did it.
Well, MIESHA, here's the thing. I'm a man who's slight of frame. So if we ever spend any time together publicly and if something happens, I will always defer to you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You're welcome. I think there's no ego I have in saying that. I would allow someone who is in better shape than me. I would not do the male-female thing. I would encourage the in better shape of us to do the actual task. Now, being a fighter, because you say, hey, I'm the one who's most qualified, is there ever times where it's annoying where there's expectations put on you? Like you're out with your girlfriends and they talk a little shit because they know you're with them?
Oh, thank God, no. I would not have those kinds of friends.
That's right, Jimmy. She doesn't hang out with Riff Raff.
Well, I've been on the train. I've talked about this before. I've been on the train with Chris Weidman and Matt, and I didn't talk any shit, but it felt really good to be on the train with two killers, because I know if anything happens, I know I'm not going to start it, but at least I know I've got, I would say, real men.
Back up. You got the muscle. Yeah, my friends always use me about that. Like, fight breaks on me, she's got us, or she's the muscle or wwhatever, but they don't egg me on into a situation that would be bad, luckily. But yeah, they always tease me a little bit.
Have you had any times where you've had to say, because I imagine someone like yourself would have to like tell people like, look, you really don't want to do this, because if you fight, you're just going to get in trouble. It's a losing situation for you either way. So have you had anything like that where you had to kind of tell people like, look, let's just don't be an idiot?
Oh yeah, for sure, there's times when you're just like, hey, let's walk away, and I'm a walk away kind of person. I'm pretty calm and easygoing and chill. I like to save all my anger and whatever else for inside the cage, so I like to stockpile it, so to speak. But boys will be boys, or fighters will be fighters, right. And there's always times when you got to yank your friends out of there and look out for their best interest.
And she's secure with herself.
Yeah, that's exactly it. People who really can fight don't need to prove they can fight.
And I don't want to throw Chris
Exactly.
and Misha. I don't want to throw Chris, the producer, under the bus.
Throw him under
again.
whatever you want.
But he was bringing up off air about listen. I want to keep this about the fight because Raquel Pennington, that's a tough girl, and the first time at Madison Square Garden, November 12th. I mean, this is going to be amazing. I hope Jimmy gets a ticket because he's
So far, it's not good.
It's not looking
Fucking,
good.
I texted Dana. He didn't see my text apparently.
Who this?
Very unhappy
I
with
think
this.
he's going to get back to you. We're going to get Jimmy. You're going to see it because
I
how
hope
could you not
so.
see it?
I want a good seat though.
Oh, Misha's-
I want to be able to mingle and
Ask
chat.
the question. Get
What?
to the
Oh,
question.
what question? Oh, the question. No, Chris, the producers. Sometimes he brings up gossip, and I go, Chris, this is about the fight. But he heard the power couple was on like a hiatus or something. Is everything okay with you and Brian? If you don't want to talk about it, by all means, I'll slap my producer right now.
You can slap your producer.
I'm gonna slap. Hey, listen, Chris. Let's keep this about the fight.
I'm sorry, Misha.
All right. And by the way, I'm a married guy, Misha. This is not about me. I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know. I don't want to make this weird.
No, he's actually Matt's interested in Brian.
No. You know, it's just one of those things. Like, as much as like everything's in the limelight, personal life is personal life, and I just don't care to talk about it. You know, I don't talk about I have plenty of personal life things that I just keep under the radar.
Well, let me ask you a question
Yeah, I hear
that's
you.
related to that, but is not that, because I've always been curious about when people, like as a comedian, I don't really date comedian. I've dated one comedian, then you bump into each other. Is it a scary proposition for you to all of a sudden have somebody who was in your camp possibly not be in your, like, is that a frightening thing for you? Will that change the way you approach camp? Is that something that would concern you?
No,
It wouldn't
no,
at all.
not at all. I mean, it's I'm not, saying anything as far as personal life stuff.
Sure.
But no, nothing's changed really. Like everything's good. Like everything will be working exactly the same. So same as it is before, and everything's good.
Yeah, I always wondered if people get superstitious. Like, I've heard different things from different fighters, just about even non-relation. Like, Ronda said that when she's walking out, I don't like jokes. Like, I don't like when people fuck around, like, the day of the fight and tell, like, there's just certain things that will change the vibe or the way you approach something. I get thrown off by weird stuff like that, even just with, like, new people in the studio or whatever. Just
Don't make Katie uncomfortable.
I don't mean that. I
Oh,
mean
I'm
just,
sorry.
behind-the-scenes people.
No, I'm the same way.
You are.
Yeah, like little things throw you off.
They do.
Yeah.
They
Why
throw
do
off
I
your game.
More importantly, why do I make myself laugh? I'm a fucking idiot. Misha, go ahead. You got to go back to
Well,
training.
congratulations. Look, you're fighting on what I think is honestly the best card the UFC has ever put
amazing.
together. And I'm not just towing the company line. I mean, I think from top to bottom, it's fantastic. And you must feel good that they thought enough of you to ask you to be on it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm beyond stoked. There's an interview that I did years ago, right in front of Madison Square Garden, and right smack dab down there. It was like, I want to be on the first UFC card here when that when it's finally legalized, and it's just a dream come true. It's a huge mile marker for the UFC, and I think it's so cool that the women have such a strong presence. There's 3 women's fights on this card, and people are like, oh, it's one of the most stacked cards ever. It's like, it's awesome. It's great that we're, have such a, like I said, a strong presence in the UFC. So for me, a dream come true, training like a mad woman, and I'm going to be ready. People are going to see a very enthusiastic MIESHA TATE on November 12th.
Well, good luck, because this obviously, if you win, it certainly doesn't hurt your case to get a title shot after the Amanda Ronda fight. So, hopefully that will put you right back in the running for it. So good luck on November 12th, and congratulations for being there.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Take care,
thanks,
Misha.
Misha. Take
Good
care.
luck.